Welcome back to our channel, Living on the Road Tips for Trucks and Truckers. We are in this beautiful rest area on Interstate 20, Ranger, Texas, going westbound. It's this beautiful meadow behind the rest area, which is in bloom. In fact, everything is so green and in bloom. But these red flowers, I don't even know what they are, but they look so beautiful and so vibrant. So we just decided to do some stretches. It's a really good way to use your brake, and just make sure that you don't do that when a full stomach. So let's begin. Interlace your fingers and extend your arms above your head and stretch, as maybe sway from side to side. Open up the rib cage. Maybe then interlace your fingers behind your sacrum and open up the heart. Stretch and then bow to the earth. You could stay on the forehead, or you could go a little deeper. Begin to rock and roll on the crown of your head, stimulating the marma points. Maybe swaying your arms from side to side. You could use any type of the belt there. You could also, if you don't have the yoga mat, don't worry about it. You could always use a towel or a blanket. Here I moved into really good stretch counter pose for the everyday sitting. It's called the extended puppy stretch, or just puppy stretch in yoga tradition. And you could stay here much longer than I'm doing that, but simply a few breaths are enough. This pose that I just transitioned into, it's called either seals pose if you have the arms straight, or sphinx pose if you release your forearms down. You could do either way. You could add some neck rolls, really good way to release any tension from the neck. And then make sure you do both ways always. Yoga allows us to exercise both sides symmetrically. Maybe move for the few breaths into the child's pose. Another great stretch for the ankles, knees, thighs, spine, arms, rib cage. And then from here, we're going to move into our first down dog. Tuck your toes under and then peel off the earth, and then maybe bending one knee at a time, swaying your hips from side to side. The down dog is an inversion, really good way to look into the world upside down. If you step your feet a little closer, you may get a little bit more stretch to the back body, to the back of your legs. If you take the longer stance in a down dog, you may get a little bit more strengthening action for the upper body. And the planks are, of course, always strengthening. Healthy spine means strong core, so never skip the planks. If you just do one thing a day, just do the plank. Forearm plank, I'm demoing. Even knees down, I'm demoing. But just keep your core engaged. Remember, that would keep your spine healthy. Now from the plank, I moved into the down dog, and here I transitioned into the side plank. So strengthening the obliques. You could step one foot in front of the other, stack your feet, lift one leg, drop the forearm down. Any type of movements, exploration here. I lost the balance, but who cares, right? No one's watching, no one's judging. That is your personal practice. This is your time with yourself, turning inwardly, taking care of the body and the mind. Now, when you're ready, you will move into the other side plank on the left side. And I'm a professional yoga instructor, and that's why I always keep practicing. And the warm time of the year is such a good way to use the outdoors. Awesome. So now from the plank, side plank, you're gonna come into the forward fold and keep your feet hip width or even wider to create a little bit more broadness in the back of your pelvis. And then bend your knees a lot. Let your upper body rest on your legs, on your thighs, belly on the thighs. You could get a hold of the opposite elbow, sway from side to side. We call that ragdoll. Or you could give yourself a hug. It's such a great way to, love yourself, to give yourself a hug, and then make sure you switch your arms. And then when you're done with passive spine stretch, which is ragdoll or forward fold, you could move into a squat position. And then again, if you need to spread your legs really wide, you could do that. Take your arms inside of your knees, turn your head from side to side. We store so much tension in our necks, in our hips. So just making sure we access all these areas. Now from the forward fold with your knees bent, come into a standing position on the top of the mat or blanket or the towel, or just standing on the grass if you feel comfortable. This is called the mountain pose. And from the mountain pose, you reach your arms up on your next inhale and add a slight arch to your spine. And as you exhale, bow forward to the earth. Inhale halfway, lift heart forward, thighs back. Exhale, bend your knees and your left leg steps back. Drop your left knee down, and then as you sink your hips down and forward, reach your arms up and over the head and stretch as if you were saluting the sun. Then as you exhale, take your hands to your heart and then twist to the right side. Simply hook your left elbow to the side of your right thigh. And then as you stack your elbows, use your arms to create a little bit more rotation to the upper spine. And then once you release your hands to the floor, and then you're going to shift your hips back, flex your right toes towards your face and bow over your right leg. You could even walk your hands forward. And then return to the top of the mat, just as you entered. Inhale, reach your arms up. Slight arch. Exhale and bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, other side. Your right leg steps back and then right knee drops on the floor. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale and sink a little deeper. Really nice psoas stretch, hip flexor stretch. Again, just sitting kills us. And then once you bring your hands in front of your heart in prayer, stack your elbows and twist to the left. Hook your right elbow to the side of your left thigh as you do that. Moving into the half splits. So as you inhale, create this space always with inhale. And as you exhale, move a little deeper and use few breaths to do that. I'm just holding each pose for the few breaths, but you could always do longer stretches. Now as you step back into the down dog, drop your knees, your chin, chest, 8 points touching. And then from your next supine, not supine, but prone position, we will take into the prone back bend. So this one is called Shalabhasana or locust. So lifting your arms and your legs simultaneously. For the little deeper version, you could bend your knees and see if you could catch your feet, tops of your feet or your ankles, and then kick your shins back as you kick your heart forward. Really nice stretch. Back bend, strengthening the back body muscles. Maybe sway your feet from side to side. We call that windshield wiping, to release any static energy after the deep back bend. And then we will move into another back bend. It's called the camel pose. So as you take your hands onto your low back, place your hands onto your sacrum, and then as you press your hips forward, lift the heart and then send your head back. The full expression is to reach for your feet. If that is available, you could always try, because how else would you know what is your body capable of if you don't try, right? So that was a camel, very vulnerable pose for many of us. Back bends are very vulnerable. And then you could rest in the child's pose or embryo pose. Embryo pose is a little bit different. I send my arms back towards my feet. I let them arms rest alongside the body. And then from the child's or embryo pose, you could come into the seated with your legs extended in front of your torso. Maybe roll your thighs in a few times. Inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, bow towards your legs. Inhale, lift the heart, and exhale, go a little deeper. And use few breaths to go a little deeper. And then don't worry about pressing your forehead into your shins. You could even do this. Bend your knees. Remember, rest your belly on the thighs. Before your forehead touches your shins, belly touches your thighs. So practice belly on the thighs first, and then sliding your heels forward slowly, month after month, year after year, you may come into the sandwich position when you have your upper body over your legs. But then, as I said, again, it's not about how you look in the pose, it's what you feel. Here I'm demoing bridge pose. So keep your feet hip width and then toes in line with your heels as you lift your belly, rib cage, heart. On your next inhale, you could clasp your hands behind your sacrum, or you could press your palms into the earth for support. Tucking your shoulders under to finish the pose, and to exit, untucking your shoulders under first, and then releasing the spine one vertebra at a time. Here I'm in the pose that is called the happy baby. Very ridiculous pose once you do that pose for the first time, but then it kind of makes you feel good. Happy baby. No agenda, no to-do list. I'm resting in supported supine butterfly for the few breaths, stretching my inner thighs, opening my hip area. And you could transition into Shavasana, corpse pose, or you could stay in the butterfly